Hello, this is Tom, aka Gedeon, here for Tabletop Tap Room in the Gloomer Games studio, which has moved to Sugarloaf Mountain in northern Maine, Carrabassett Valley. And the good wife has a conference, state conference up here. And so I've just tagged along to sit in the hot tub and drink adult beverages. Yeah, it's a tough job. Somebody's got to do it. But today we are looking at Candela Obscura from Critical Role, Darrington Press. And I'm not going to actually do a how to play it video. There are plenty of people doing that. I'm going to talk about why you should consider this RPG. Because, you know, RPGs are a dime a dozen. There are a gazillion RPGs on drive-thru alone. There's always a new one coming out. And I'm going to just talk about some of the high points as I see it for the Candela Obscura from Darrington Press, a.k.a. Critical Role and Matt Mercer and that crowd and crew. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor, Gloomer Games. And special thanks to Gloomer Games for being our first paid advertiser. We greatly appreciate their patronage, and we are looking forward to their Kickstarter coming in September. Now let's move on to the Darrington Press and their Candela Obscura. You can Google it and download it. The quick start guide is free. So, most quick start guides are. Highly recommend that. They also, here's a view of the quick start guide, but they also have a video on their website that tells you how to play, gives you the basics real quick. And my number one reason why I'm liking Candela Obscura is that it is a dice pool game. This means you're using D6s, and now it's not a dice pool like, say, Witch Hunter was, where you could be rolling, 16, 20 dice. It got crazy when we played back in the day, and I wasn't so fond of some of the dice pool games we were playing back then. But this is six-sided dice and then 3 gilded dice. And all that really means is that 3 of the dice are an off color. So it's just, you only have to keep track of 9 dice. That's a decent amount, and most people can come up with the 9 dice. So it's not going to be tricky. There's no specialty dice. This is something for everyone. And the thing about dice pools that I do like is that players like rolling dice in games. If it's a game, you should have something to do. It's just something about dice rolling is organic to gameplay. And so the more players are rolling dice, the better. So I like it for the dice pool aspect. Now, the next reason. Now, my next reason for liking it is I like what they've done for the player character classes. You've got 5 classes: Face, Muscle, Scholar, Slink, and Weird. And then in each of those, there is a character concept that are different sides of the teeter-totter. So for the Face, you've got the Journalist and Magician. For the Muscle, you've got Soldier, Explorer, Scholars, Professor, Doctor. Slink is Criminal versus Detective. Weird is a Medium or Occultist. And so you're going to pick one of these. You're going to pick one of these character classes and then a character concept. And each of those character concepts will then inform on choices that you're going to make on the character sheet concerning skills and your focuses. And I feel like it's a very simple, intuitive system that will help you round out a party very well. The third reason that I like Candela Obscura is that it's late 1800s, 1890s, turn of the century technology. So it's sitting there, it's hitting a sweet spot where a lot of other RPGs are at. And that's, it's kind of almost steampunk meets Call of Cthulhu, but not quite. It looks like you could lean into the steampunk if you wanted, or you could lean into the Call of Cthulhu more if you wanted. And so it's at a nice place where you could take this game in a direction that appeals to you. And I think that's actually kind of brilliant on Darrington Press's part with this particular game. And then finally, the other thing I like is the damage system. This is not per se a game that's going to be heavy in combat. Combat does occur, but you're not checking off hit points, and when you get to 0, you're unconscious or dead. It's different. And I like the way it's going. You've got these marks and scars. So your character can take 3 marks towards body, brain, and bleed. And once you take 3 marks towards body or towards brain or towards bleed, and bleed is that would be marks from like negative magic that impact the character, have left a mark on you. And after you take 3, you become incapacitated in that scene until your teammates can get you out and revive you, smelling salts under the nose, whatever it takes to revive. And you erase those 3 marks, but you now have a scar. And so you will determine what your scar is. And then you're going to move. You're going to erase one of your ranks towards one of your skills and move it someplace else. And this symbolizes the character being changed by this experience. And I think that's really a very interesting way of doing it. Once your character has 3 scars and you get 3 more marks, your character is then completely incapacitated or dead. And I like that it's not specified whether it's incapacitated or dead, because I see at this point where you've taken so much psychic damage from magic, or you've taken so many scars to your brain, from brain marks, or the body, that your character is now he's reached a point where they can no longer actively adventure. So this would become a threshold where you would be like, this character is now going to be NPC'd. And you could bring this character back if you were the game master and use them as an NPC advisor to the group. And you're just going to roll up a new character. And you could roll up a new character, say it's the nephew of the character that has become completely incapacitated, can no longer actively adventure. And so you begin play with the character has a contact. My uncle has been doing this. And so the uncle could actually be be an NPC the game master would use, that you could go to the uncle for advice. You'd be getting advice from the game master using that character as an NPC. I really like this system. It's not like D&D where you're just ticking off the hit points, but you could be incapacitated in a scene, knocked unconscious, knocked out, whatever it is. Your compatriots have to rescue you. I don't think the system lends itself to total party kills. That could be a possibility, I'm sure. But I don't think it's a system that's going to lend itself to total party kills. And I do like where they're going with this system. And it's not just that you're going to be taking these marks from combat. It could be negative magical effects have given you a mark. And a lot of it could be bad rolls with the dice pool that you've just rolled badly. And finally, I already said finally. One more finally, the gilded dice mechanic. You have certain skills, certain focuses that your character has that there'll be a little diamond on, next to it, and you'll blacken in the diamond with a pencil. And this means that if you're rolling that skill, you'll be rolling with a gilded dice. And so you'll say you had 3 dice, one of them was gilded, 2 of them were not, and you roll this dice pool, you might get a higher die result on one of the non-gilded dice, but you might take the gilded dice result, even though it's lower, because in so doing, it gives you back one of your drive points. And the drive points are points that you spend for extra dice, and once you spend them, you have to earn them back, and you earn them back by taking a gilded die result. And I really like this. So you're spending these drive points in play. They're a limited resource. And the only way to get it back is by your character using the skills that are his primary skills. So you have a reporter using a gun. That's not a skill that a reporter normally uses. So the focus and the push is going to be to use the skills to, the sway, the influence, because he's a reporter, so he's using the sway, the influence skill, doing that role. It's a gilded die. It'll be a gilded die roll. The system is very subtly geared to push you to do those things that your character is supposed to be doing. You can totally attempt things that you're not skilled in. You can totally be doing things that would not normally be what your character would do. I like that you can do that, but the system really is geared to push you to do those things, which are what your character, what is expected that they would do. And so I like how this whole system is set up. It's very simple. It's very easy to learn. The how to play videos are available, and it's not just a how to play video from Darrington Press. There's how to play videos out there from other YouTubers. So this is a very accessible game. It's going to be very easy for players to pick it up, and it is the first shot across the bow of WotC of Wizards, because I really think, I'm really convinced as I listen to arguments from other YouTubers, that the whole OGL thing was really focused, that whole over 750,000, it was really focused on somebody like Critical Role. And so this is really a first shot across the bow of WotC by Critical Role. And, so I got to say, cheers to Matt Mercer and company. The game looks great. It's that classic Cthulhu investigation type of thing. In some ways, it reminds me of Witch Hunter, although Witch Hunter is set in a different time period. And in some ways, it was like my Port Lauren Police Department crime scene, my Port Lauren CSI game that I ran in Star Frontiers, where it's very episodic, very investigative. So this is actually a perfect game for to run at a convention. It's easy to pick up. Players will pick it up easy. Simple and very episodic. So it's you can run it as a campaign, but it's if you need a break, it's going to be ideal. So I wholeheartedly endorse the Candela Obscura. It looks like a lot of fun. It's looking very accessible and simple and uncomplicated to me, and I like that in the game at this point in my gaming career. So 2 thumbs up. So this is Tom, aka Jerian, signing out for Tabletop Tap Room in the Gloomer Games studio from Sugarloaf Mountain in Carrabassett Valley, Maine. Keep on gaming.